Can you compare, Braxton Miller and Carlos Hyde, that combination, to anybody, you've coached against before?
It's a pretty lethal combination. They're as good as anybody out there, I promise you. Both got a great blend of power and speed, so they've caused a lot of people fits.
Braxton Miller, is he a run-first quarterback as opposed to throw-first, or does he do both equally?
They do both. They do both. It's your typical spread. They try to attack your edges and attack you up the middle and try to take the top off of all those different runs. So they got the jet sweeps and the powers and the zone and the reverses, and again the play actions off of all those. So they're good at everything that they do.
I think Carlos probably gets lost a little bit considering how good Braxton is, but I bet he doesn't get lost on tape, does he?
No, he's very physical, breaks a lot of tackles, runs through a lot of trash. He's not just running, when guys are missing fits. He's running through and over people quite often. So plays well behind his pads, has good speed, catches the ball well, and again, a very good physical, complete player.
What do you teach to stop a 235-pound running back?
Technique, man. Toughness, attitude, technique. You got to get a lot of hats to the ball.
Do they run as much tempo?
Yeah,
does,
I'm, haven't coached against them, but they've got their no huddle and tempo, and they like everybody, you see it against virtually everybody now.
You have your defense that leads the country in tackles for loss, and Ohio State has been susceptible of that. What are you seeing in this matchup that you'll be able to make some plays in the backfield?
Oh, I don't know. They're really good up front. They're very sound up front, and they're very physical, and they've got athletic ability to handle movement and change of direction, pressures, or you just don't see a ton of guys coming free. But we're going to have to play really well physically, first and foremost. Probably our biggest challenge physically of the year, because they're physical on the perimeter. And the quarterback's a physical runner. He's big and he's super fast. We haven't faced anybody with his kind of speed at quarterback as well. So, you probably compare him to like Vince Young and Cedric Benson when they had that combination. Two big, powerful guys, both with good top-end speed and good power to run between the tackles.
The physical part of it has traditionally been a Big Ten thing, just as far as the physical.
But they've done a good job at recruiting athletic ability there too. That's a school that's always attracts high-level elite offensive linemen, and you're seeing it right now with a veteran group of guys that can both move and knock you off the ball and bloody your nose. So they do, and they play with toughness. You admire them for that. Running downhill, crucial crunch time situations. They're not trying to trick you. They're trying to, outpower you. So, and out physical you. So they've been really successful doing that.
You said at one point earlier this season that D tackle was the deepest position on the team. Is that still?
That's when we had Carlos. We had 5 of them, so right now we have 4. 4.5. Rod's done a great job too, coming along. So he'd make our 5th guy. But we're strong there, and we're going to need to play our best against these guys.
Last time at the Orange Bowl, Clemson gave up 70 points. You weren't here, but have you heard about that, or did you witness it, or watch film of it, or has people brought it up to you?
No. No. That game doesn't matter. And to me, it doesn't matter with our guys. Now, it might be, hopefully it makes some guys mad, but other than that, those circumstances don't matter. We played a lot of football games since then, and football is football. And how you play well doesn't change from week to week. And we've been in big games. I've had our back against the wall. We've come off a loss and came back and played well since that time. So it's 2 years ago. That's a long time ago, and there's a number of guys that weren't playing that'll play critical roles against these guys. So, all that matters is how we play on January the 3rd, and in particular how we practice and our preparation leading up till then.
I hate to bring up a bad memory, but or if there are any, but have you ever been part of a defense where things just snowballed?
Yeah,
really got out of
absolutely.
hand like
You
that?
coach long enough, you know, you're going to have those days when, you know, you got all the magical calls and everything you call is the right call, and then there's days when you're not playing real well as a football team. And so I've been on both sides of it. When you're turning the ball over, you're not going to beat anybody. And then you turn the ball over and give up explosive plays, that's a recipe for disaster. And I've been a part of those, and so, you know, those are things you can't do and expect to win.
Do you know off the top of your head the most points your defense has ever surrendered? No.
No.
How's the team mentally prepared, or how the players mentally prepared?
Well, we're not playing until January 3rd, so you're trying to, again, there's a process, like trying to develop that, get back to the basics and your fundamentals and being physical, and then, you know, get familiar with what they do, what they like to do, and, you know, what our plan is and what we got to do to win. And it'll be pretty simple, though, the things that you got to do in order to win. And you got to play physical, can't give up big plays, got to play well on third down, got to tackle well. And you got to leverage the football. Again, they're going to try to attack the perimeter, and they do a great job, again, inside, getting movement and knocking people off the ball. So, again, they give you a blend, and then they've got really good speed outside to take the top off you in the back end. So you're going to have to make some competitive plays on the football as well.
How important is this for guys like Scott Pagano and Adrian Baker?
It's good, you know, when we got them in a Paul drill or got them in some Skelly out there where we're coaching them, and there's a lot of intensity and getting after them, and you know, everybody's watching. So it's like every year, it's a great opportunity to get a few extra reps and develop those guys, and put them in some stressful situations and bring them along. And again, defense in particular is trained reaction, and you got to develop a foundation of fundamentals and toughness. And this is an opportunity, kind of a precursor of the spring, you know, for those guys.
Do you get to see those guys that are redshirting a lot more now?
Oh, now we do, yeah. Again, not near as much as you'd like, but yeah, you do. So that was kind of fun. That's probably the best part of practice, believe it or not.
Any specifically that have sort of
Yeah, I
jumped
saw
out
him.
for
Wearing jersey 4.
I mean, how's he looking? I mean, since he's back, being 100%.
He's done well. Yeah, he's done well. I think he's feeling better and feeling more confident and getting his smile back a little bit. So.
any of those other redshirt guys that have sort of jumped out at you?
Nah. We'll wait and see. You know, it's always hard. You know, so but there's a lot of good young guys that what I see from them. First thing is I think they like to play and like to compete, and are a confident young group of guys. So there'll be a number of those guys that'll have to. We don't lose much, but they're going to jump right in and compete. And they were knocking on the door, you know, this last fall, and they'll have a great opportunity to step in and compete and make us better.
Since you arrived, what part of this defense has improved the most?
Probably I think our attitude, starting with practice. You know, I think that's the first thing. You know, starting with my own group, and you know, I got to have that group right before I can expect other groups to be right. So that, you know, just that mindset, and not that it was way the other way, but just a certain way I wanted to think, act, and practice, attitude, and intensity, and then holding each other accountable. And you develop that leadership and cultivate that, nourish that, and then you can kind of step back and let them do it. And we've got some good leaders, and then again, you got a good group of guys that have humility to them, character, and some toughness, and so they're able to kind of call it right and wrong, you know, when it needs to be. So yeah, that again is you got to have that right first, and then again I think we've improved fundamentally and just being a little bit more sound and consistent, and still trying to sharpen that iron and get better and more consistent, but those are probably the biggest things.
Thinking back to the South